We were on Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're mentioning you by name, which is awesome.
My favorite guest
Yeah.
was Todd Crane.
Me too.
I was like, maybe, throw me a bone somewhere else. Did the bone come flying my way? Nope.
Also, Bobby Jacoby. Bo Jesse was fun.
Yes.
Definitely my dad. And then, of course, James.
Michael Jordan pushing someone out of the way to get to my father in an arena.
That's amazing.
Was extraordinary.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing, okay?
What the
Hold
is
on.
happening?
So we have built a fan base, okay?
Yeah.
And in this fan base, we have picked up somebody who has supported every single one of our shows,
Yeah.
who has commented on all our YouTube.
Oh, no! Welcome to a special episode, a very special episode of 90who10. It is Dan and I's catch up.
Yeah, we've been doing this just over a year. Yeah, we started like in July of.
Did we? And then
Yes.
we didn't do them all at once.
We didn't do them all at once.
That's what it was. Yeah, we're trying to figure it
But
out.
then we got into this like regular groove, this
Yeah.
regular schedule. It's been amazing. I couldn't have done this without you, Jess. And I've
Oh,
said that
well.
over and over. And
Thanks.
you are.
I wouldn't be doing this,
You
period,
are
if it
the-
wasn't you.
We ham and egg it. We really do. But you are the life of this show. You really
Oh,
are. No,
stop
seriously.
it.
Seriously, I've been,
That's not true
For
at
the-
all.
like, I mean, look, I would say when it comes to wrangling the guests, it's maybe like 75% me. But when we get in here, you are like I don't know, you're the spark. You're like the firecracker. You really
I've
are.
heard that part before.
You really are. And it's amazing. And I'm so grateful you did this. We've talked, and I know we remember this a little differently, but we've talked about this off air and not on air.
Yeah.
What started with I was playing golf with Dan Zeroni, our producer.
Yeah.
And my friend Steve Botoff, who I still haven't gotten to come on the show.
Right.
But Steve grew up in a very Hollywood family, and he has a lot of great Hollywood stories. And he and I were talking about growing up in Beverly Hills. And Dan was just starting to produce some podcasts. And he's like,
Right.
this is a podcast, And he's like, you guys should do this. And Steve, who I can't even get to be a guest, obviously didn't want to be a host.
Right.
And, it was kind of around. And then I talked to you about it. And you were like, let's do it. You
Yeah.
know? And you have been amazing. You've been.
Well, you caught me when I was in that mode of doing my radio shows on AMP.
Yeah.
So I had been like playing around, and I'm like, I like talking to like the ether. I had that same kind of idea of like knowing a lot of interesting people and
Yeah.
just wanting to ask them about their lives. It's so funny because I remember when you told me about the name of the podcast, and at first I was like, ugh. And then I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And so we were really lucky. We kind of like turnkeyed this podcast because of Dan. For those that I realized that we never actually say who produced the show, but it's
Yeah.
Planet Red Media,
Yeah.
owned by our producer, Dan Zeroni. And then we've never actually given super duper props to Billy Carmichael, who
Yeah.
edits and puts these together and uploads them all and makes us not sound like crazy people.
And works his ass off.
He
really
works
does.
his ass off, sets up the room.
Yep.
I mean, all the stuff. So every once in a while, you'll hear Billy laughing in the background. So what do you think? Like now that we're a year in,
I feel good. I feel really good. I mean, it's been, a little bit of like ebbs and flows. There was a part where, we were struggling with it a little bit, but I really am happy with where we are. And I feel like we're growing and getting
Yeah.
better at it.
Yeah.
And we're growing a following, which is really fun.
that's crazy.
We're going to, let me ask you, what was your favorite episode or guest this year?
Well, okay, they're different.
Mhm.
My favorite guest
Yeah,
was Todd Crane.
me too.
You are now embedded in pop culture, which is kind of a fun thing kind of a fun thing.
I was like, maybe, throw me a bone somewhere else. Did the bone come flying my way? Nope.
I remember rumors, whether they were true or not. Todd Green's has a tanning salon in his house. And I'm like, wait,
So,
what?
Do you have a tennis salon in your house?
well, there's a reason why. So they were,
I love it.
I mean, what a shocker that was to me,
Yeah.
even because I love Todd, but I had no idea what kind of guest he was going to make.
He was great.
He was so candid and honest and funny and quick and didn't give a fuck. And I'm like, yes,
And
more
that's-
of those. I love it.
That's what the best guests are.
Yep.
Because, a lot of the people that we've had on they do it because they're our friends or they like us or they want to help us out.
Yeah.
but they are a little guarded because they don't really, when you've grown up with either celebrity or wealth, you don't really want to shine too much of a light on it. And Todd was like an open book.
Very
yeah.
much so. And also Bobby Jacoby.
It's hard as a kid because you have to be in this adult world. You're getting pulled out of school all the time. I couldn't make practice, or I had to leave the team. I mean, I was 13. I went to my first nightclub.
Yes.
Bobby Jacoby was one of my first favorite. Bo Jesse was fun.
Yes.
Big movie. So, I mean, Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves, and then Bo Jesse Christopher. He leaves the room. He comes back 2-3 minutes later with Catherine Bigelow. And he goes, do that again. So I did it again. She goes, you're hired. Gary Busey used to chase me around the set and like literally like give me wedgies. And so Keanu says, come to Rainbow and I says, come in my trailer and let's drink beers. We were all hanging out. It was, Robert Gavin, Yep.
Brian Austin Green,
Yep.
Porky,
Yep.
Baltazar Getty,
Yep.
Jenny Lewis, Soleil Moon Frye,
Yep.
Dave Faustino, Rainbow, you,
Yep.
me.
But my favorite episode, and I am biased, was definitely my dad.
Well, your dad was great.
I am so thankful that we got that on camera, but also just hearing him talk about growing up in LA in the 60s and
Yeah.
the Phil Spector stories.
Yeah.
And like, I want to definitely have him come on again.
Definitely going to come out.
Because he was fun. And there's a couple some of the earlier shows I thought, even though we were finding our feet, I loved having Mike Azria on,
Yep.
even though his chair was squeaking the whole time.
Yeah.
He had great stories
Yeah.
and he was really honest. And Howie was like, he had his pictures, he had like his whole life saved.
Yeah.
And I loved listening to that. And then of course, James.
Michael Jordan pushing someone out of the way to get to my father in an arena
That's amazing.
was extraordinary.
Like no social media, like not even the dating apps.
Oh, I don't need dating.
I know.
Yeah. James was so surprising. I know him as Jamie. He and I we've had this relationship since we were 7 or 8 years old. And it's involved in this thing where he and I will have dinner, about 3 or 4 times a year together. And we just kind of catch up on our lives.
Yeah.
I asked him to be on it once before and he kind of shied away from it. And then I don't know, I just caught him on a day when I was talking about it. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. Right. And the traction that episode got.
It was so bittersweet too, though, because I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck them for like pulling some random soundbite out that had nothing to do with anything. But it did kind of put us on the map.
I mean, I was super excited. I mean, we were on Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're mentioning you by name, which was awesome.
like-
right? I mean, and they're talking
Thank
about
God I
the
looked cute in
podcast.
my little
And
jumpsuit.
it was
that day.
all over like European entertainment media. I mean, it was.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, it was everywhere. And that episode got like thousands of clicks.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was awesome,
But-
and Jamie wants to come back.
See,
you know that?
I didn't.
Yeah.
And I felt bad. Like I felt bad that we had opened him up to like ridicule of some sort. You know what I mean? But that I know, but I'm sensitive to that too.
It's funny too because he and I went to dinner right after, and like a couple days after the episode aired. Like I said, he's kind of, he doesn't really shine a light on himself too often.
Yeah.
And so I guess that caused it to be picked up, and of course he got the call from his sister right away, like what's going on,
Oh, God.
yeah. But he was. I said, listen, I owe you, man. You
I felt bad because I just felt like, wow, I'm glad that it like got some traction
Yeah.
from it, but I also was like really kind of like, ew, why would you pick up on like this random thing out of context? But I'm like, oh, this is what these celebrities do.
But it kind of lit my fire a little bit
Yeah,
too. I was like,
yeah.
look, we have something here. We
Yeah.
can,
The other thing is like what has surprised, aside from that, what else has like really surprised you about doing this podcast?
As our confidence has grown, I don't know if it's just from the way we put off, but like being able to get guests has become easier. First, like
Yeah.
people were a little hesitant. I was going like super like close to
Yeah,
shooting fish
yeah.
in the barrel kind of thing. I mean, like Dave, I can
Totally.
He's one of
We
my
went
best
for
friends.
low hanging
Yeah,
fruit. You can
low-hanging
tell
fruit.
who our closest
Eating
friends
testing,
are.
like, if you go through like
The first 10 episodes
all
are
people,
all
like,
close
that was
friends,
like
yeah.
easy to ask, And as we've, gotten better at it and felt more confident about it, we've been able to get people who, are still our friends, but maybe not as close or low hanging fruit,
Yeah, they take a little more extra effort.
a little more effort.
I think what was most surprising is the amount of grassroots fans there
awesome.
are.
It's awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
My dad's episode got quite a few got quite a
He
few.
was right
Got
up there
like
with Jamie.
thousands of. Oh no, his was
Yeah.
more than Jamie's
Yeah.
for a while. And he still has this amazing fan base that
Yeah.
I know they've shared with their friends.
Yep.
I know that I've been connected to a woman by the name of Linda who was the president of the Grassroots fan club
Yeah.
and still is. And I've put her in touch with my dad. They've sent videos back and
That's
forth. She's not doing very well, so sending love, Linda. And it's been that part of it for me because I don't know my dad in that light
Yeah.
is fucking crazy.
That's awesome.
Because I'm going, Dad, you have like fans. It's
Yeah.
just fucking weird.
Of course
Like,
he has fans.
I know, but it's
Yeah.
weird because he's dad,
Yeah,
you know.
I get it.
And he to me was not a famous person because
That's
I
yeah,
came
yeah,
after
yeah, exactly.
the height of it, so
Mhm.
I don't know him in that light at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. There's definitely people who are supporting the podcast and the Instagram page on a very consistent basis.
Yeah, and there's friends that are interacting or like helping out. Like, hey, have you guys reached out to so and so? I think they'd be interested. And I'm like, thank you.
Mhm.
So we love that. Keep doing it. It's so nice. And I'm sure there's a couple people that are like hate listening as well, but that's fine too.
Let me ask you this: how do you think your approach to this whole thing has changed since we started?
I think when we first started, because God bless Dan and you guys were so serious about it. And I'm like, I had just started a new job. My life has completely changed since we first did the couple episodes. And so I was really overwhelmed, which I think you got to see a little peek inside my ADHD and overwhelm and like panic because I was like, this is too much pressure. And it felt really cumbersome. And I think it's not as cumbersome as I had thought it was going to be.
That's good.
However, I can definitely tell when I'm listening to some of the interviews, like ones that I'm more comfortable in and ones where I haven't done any prep and I'm just like boop boop boop. So I think, my level of commitment and seriousness has elevated, but I'm also trying not to control everything.
But I feel like even from the get-go, you've been committed to this thing. And you have brought a seriousness to it and a commitment to it. And you've juggled other things like a full-time job and being a mom. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And even my life has changed since we started.
Yeah.
But, I think
we both got new jobs.
I've got a new job.
Yeah.
And but the other thing too is I think we both kind of like were getting our toes wet in the beginning and seeing how it's going. And then we talked about like, let's get on like a regular schedule.
Yeah.
And then, and we've been able to do that. And I'm so grateful that you have been such an amazing partner.
Fun. This is like better than going to any high school reunion, which I have not gone to.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the one that we were supposed to have this year happened because it is our 30-year reunion year. But just doing the show and reconnecting with people has been totally worth it.
Sure.
It was funny though. I remember we've butt heads on a few things. Like
we have.
I definitely did not want to have a show every 2 weeks. I thought that was a lot. I still think it's a lot.
Yeah.
But also we disagreed on the angle, which I think has organically kind of shifted not as much into the celebrity aspect and more the human aspect of people, which is interesting to me. So I definitely, maybe our listeners can chime in. I like knowing, like having people on here that didn't necessarily come from that, but also, rose up in the ranks or have some interesting life experiences
Which
to
is
talk about.
interesting too. First of all, obviously Todd Crane is one of my favorite guests, but what's one of my favorite episodes is one that we just aired was the one with Alana Tias.
There was no sound check, no rehearsals. It was all festivals.
Yeah.
So the next was Sierra Nevada Music Festival. Now there's 15,000 people.
Yeah.
All the biggest reggae bands that I grew up like idolizing, looking up to: Gregory Isaacs, Dennis Brown, Toots and the Maytals, the Abyssinians, Roots Radic. Everybody were opening up for me.
I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And it kind of covers all the bases and kind of what you talk about, what I talk about, because, Dan and I have kind of always had this feeling that we need to appeal to people like in middle America. They want to, it's interesting that Alon was the lead singer of the Wailers. It's interesting that Todd was, part of this Kardashian thing. That where's the hook kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then with the episode with Elon, for example, then we start talking a little bit about some political stuff.
Which you have totally wanted me to like not go into, which I appreciate. And I think that it was touched on.
It was.
In a way that was okay.
Because for me, I feel like this is an entertainment show.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just in my own life. Like you probably follow me on Facebook and
Yeah.
stuff. I don't get too political. Like I have my own
Oh,
opinions.
I'm a loudmouth.
I don't though. I just don't. I'm more like I'm worried about my brand. You know.
Right. I could care less. Like one day I'm going to get fired for saying
Yeah,
something
you know,
stupid. So
I just keep it middle of the road. I'm not. I definitely have opinions on things. And,
Yeah.
and we can definitely talk about that.
well, it's funny. I like I like talking about the mental health
Well, that I
aspect to
understand.
it, which I think is something that when we had Eden on,
Yep.
I thought that was a really vulnerable thing for her
Yep.
to kind of go into. Even Todd, even one of the things that Todd said that really resonated, and I think saying that he's going to be fine. He
Mhm.
came from, a lot of money and a
Mhm.
really good family, and he never has to really worry.
Mhm.
But he'd like to have success on his own.
Yeah.
And sometimes that evades people who come from a very successful family. And the fact that he was vulnerable enough to say that, I thought was not brave, because that's corny, but like it was empowering in a way, because he was like the elephant in the room kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like I identify my privilege, but it has been a hindrance.
He doesn't apologize for it, but
Yeah.
he'd like to have something to stand on his own.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's actually a theme and a tone. If you listen closely to these things,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of the people that we've had on, not all of them, but there's been a good portion of the son of, the brother of, the
Yeah.
cousin of,
Yeah.
and a lot of these people struggle for their own identity and want to have their own merit. Here's the thing that's kind of striking or weird or interesting. When you talk about a Max Homa, right? Okay.
Right.
Or
Right.
you talk about an
The
Alan,
golfer, just to
yeah,
throw in. Yeah.
or an Alan Thicke,
Yep.
okay? Or some of these people who've had success like at the highest heights.
Yeah.
When you look at like the world or even just the United States, very few people reach that kind of success.
Totally.
And I'm not talking about the success and they're happy with their lives, they're done, they have good jobs, but that level of wealth or fame or or just being the best in the world at something,
Yeah. Yeah.
not too many people reach that height, and it's weird. There's this weird kind of thing. I don't know the word to put on it, but when you're in Beverly Hills, it seems like all these people end up in the same
Pocket. Yeah.
So there's a lot of these people, even though there are not a lot of them in the world.
I never
And
thought
then
of it
you
this
have
way.
their relatives or their sons or their daughters or their whatever, and now they're like overshadowed by this huge thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where even
In a city that poses a lot of stress on that kind of
success,
stuff.
right?
Yes.
But where even your normal successes or accomplishments, which are great things, but they're downplayed or they're made to feel not as important or not as
Right.
big.
Right. What you just said, it's like that is a very small percentage of the world's population that
Yes.
have this kind of excessive wealth.
Yeah.
And we happen to have grown up in the middle of it.
Yeah.
We start winding up a special surprise that we lined up.
Oh yeah. So here's the thing. Okay.
What the
So
fuck
hold
is
on.
happening?
So so we're talking about doing this catch-up show, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, we're bringing a guest today, and I was like, whoa, hold on, I got something for you.
Oh no.
Yeah. So we've done this show, right? And we have definitely picked up some traction, right?
Yeah.
And we have built a fan base, okay?
Yeah.
And in this fan base, we have picked up somebody who has supported every single one of our shows,
Yeah.
who has commented on all our YouTube.
Oh no.
So, and her name is Vicky.
Yeah,
right?
Bushman.
Yeah. And so I reached out to her on Instagram.
Oh my God, I
and
love
we
this.
talked on the phone.
Is she the best?
And she's coming on Zoom with us right now.
Oh my God, I love that.
And
I
I'm gonna
love
surprise
that.
Jessica.
I love that. Oh
So,
my
yeah,
gosh.
Hold on, let's bring her on. So Jessica and I started this podcast about a year ago. And throughout this, we've noticed this person, Vicky Bushman, who has commented on our postings and has supported our show from day one and has become our number one fan, really. And we've got some traction. We definitely have people who are watching our show, but this nice lady's been watching very consistently. So Jessica and I have been talking about doing this kind of catch-up show since we've been doing this for about a year. And so I reached out to Vicky.
I love it.
And Jessica didn't even know until right now. First when I said, hey, can I give you a call? She goes, did I do something wrong? I said, no, quite the contrary. You've done something right.
I just want to say congratulations on the two of you for having such a great show. I hope you have many years performing and bringing all this wonderful information to us that watch you. You guys have such good chemistry together. That's what makes it so much fun to watch. And all the guests you've had on there have been fabulous. I picked up so much information, so much knowledge, laughed a lot, loved your dad. You must have him back sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
But like Benjamin King, for him to come on with his issues with his health has helped two of my girlfriends.
I was diagnosed at 15 with a version of ulcerative colitis. It was very minimal. Then I got really sick in my mid-20s. I'm not coming home with this colon. When you receive emails from like you have no idea what this did for my daughter, it gave her such hope and strength. You're like, okay, so what do I want my legacy to be?
So, you know, you're doing more than just entertainment. You guys are just absolutely wonderful. And I would wish more people would watch your show. You know, you guys are just great. And you're so cute.
We appreciate you so much.
Cute.
How did you find us originally?
I was on YouTube and just looking for some grassroots videos. And it popped up where the old Ed Sullivan show was on with the grassroots people. So I thought, well, this is interesting. Well, what is this 90who10? I said, well, that's different. So I clicked it on, and then I saw your dad's 2 sessions that you had. And I thought, well, this is so sweet. You could just tell how much you adore your dad.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It really was awesome. So I thought, huh, I'm going to start watching to see your guys' background, to see how you met and came up with this idea. So I watched, I think, Dan, yours was the first one.
That's
Or
right.
Jessica was the first one. But, you know, even your background with your dad and stuff, being in the business part of it.
Mhm.
And then for Jessica, you know, for your dad, you know, that's a given. And even, you know, you really had a hard life. I really felt sad for you, but you really proved that you could pick up and just turn into a really good human being.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
Thank you.
I
She's
admire both of
amazing.
you. So,
Aw.
and then I was hooked. That was
Yeah,
it.
we
I was
really
hooked.
appreciate.
Oh, I love that you watch them because I cannot watch them. I cannot watch myself. I can barely listen to myself. When I listen to my voice back, I want to like crawl in a hole. So I don't even know how many people have actually like watched episodes, and I don't know if we know what Spotify is like. But I love that you watch them, and like I get
And
these
she
lovely.
comments. And she comments.
and then she'll send me a note. She's like, "You looked really tired. I hope you're feeling okay."
She's
And
great.
I'm like,
She's like our biggest fan. She is our biggest fan.
I'm like, well, I was jet lagged, but thanks.
Who have you enjoyed the most?
Todd cracked me up.
We love Todd. We love Todd.
Whenever I'm feeling just like a little sad or something, I just zip over to Todd, and there's just something about his personality. He is just a hoot.
I
Just
know.
a
He
hoot.
really
You have a
is.
little Todd time when you're feeling
Yeah, a little
down.
Todd.
So I have to ask because obviously I noticed your accent, and I'm guessing you're middle and north. Where are you
Wisconsin,
from?
Two Rivers,
Wisconsin. I was
Wisconsin.
going to say it because my husband's from Chicago. So, of course, anytime he hears anyone from the Midwest, now my ear has been trained.
Yeah. I was so
She's a
afraid. So,
smart lady.
so Jessica has, we both have access to the Instagram. And as I was coming here today, I was like, oh gosh, I really hope Jessica doesn't look at the messages and that you and I had been messaging back and forth because I really wanted this to be a surprise for her. And I think it worked.
It did. I was like, well, at first I got nervous. I'm like, oh God, who are you bringing out?
Yeah.
Did you see my face? I'm like, if you found somebody,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I want to see.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, she's been a supporter of ours. I'm like, Vicky Bushman.
Yeah.
But I love that it's created this like love, like you have been so supportive and you are a stranger to us. And, it was so nice that I could tell immediately that obviously you really adored my dad's band and that you were coming from that perspective because you must have found us through the grassroots. And then you're like connecting me with Linda and like really just a part of our story now. I mean, we know you
Yes.
now.
Yes.
And so that's what's so kind of amazing about doing this is that we've made connections outside of our bubble.
Yep.
Because we really are, let's be real. Some of the people that are listening grew up where we did.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, I remember this story. Oh, I know that. But to kind of have somebody who doesn't know us and is listening to these nutty stories and some of the stuff that, we've gotten into and our friends have been a part of. that's really nice to hear that you are enjoying it.
Yeah. We have some really good stuff coming up for you too.
Promise?
Yes.
Pinky swear.
Yeah, we
Pinky
promise.
swear.
Yes,
Come on.
yes.
Oh yeah.
We
yeah.
promise. Pinky swear for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're lovely, and I'm just so thankful that you've shared the love and given us, a platform to continue to keep working.
We really appreciate it.
It's the idea. It's nice to see something positive on the screen. It really is.
I see your husband walking in the background there. What does he think? What does he think about your obsession with us?
Yeah, what do you think about that obsession, Tom?
He's laughing.
There you are. Put your face in the box like you told me.
That's so funny. Has she made you watch episodes of this with her?
I have watched, and they are interesting. I've she's kind of got me hooked on it too.
I love that.
Number two.
That.
We love it.
I
We
love it.
it.
We have 2 fans.
We're so grateful. We really are grateful for the support.
Yeah.
We cannot thank you enough, And let me ask you this. If you had a kind of genie wish, is there somebody you'd love to see us get on the show?
Oh, Lord. I can't think off the top of my head. No, you got me there, honey.
But we have
just keep bringing on who you
We will.
have
We have
been.
some good people planned coming up.
Yeah.
But,
good.
But
good.
thank you for coming on. Thank you for all the support. We really
You are my heart.
are so grateful to have you. Thank you, Vicky.
We are very much.
Hopefully the producer doesn't have to chop off a lot of stuff.
No, not at all.
You have to tell Jessica what I said on the phone that I thought she would say when she found out it was me. Do you remember?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. What was it? Say it.
Oh, what the fuck?
Oh, what the fuck? Yeah. She did.
That's so funny. I have a potty mouth.
She was like, she couldn't believe it.
I was like, no.
Yeah, she couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I thought of it last
I
week.
love
I'm
that
like,
she knows me so well.
Doing the catch up. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bring Vicky on.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. This
yeah,
is great.
yeah.
This is such a great anniversary present.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
What?
I was going to have balloons in the whole bit,
Oh
but
my
I
God.
just got carried away.
Well,
so.
next time we'll fly you out and you'll pop out of a cake. No, but this has been. We got to make some swag.
Yeah,
we got to get
we're going
Vicky some swag.
We're going to get
I
you
think
some.
you need a 90who10 Todd time
Yeah,
T-shirt.
for sure.
And we'll donate 10% to Todd.
See how fun you guys are? Oh my goodness. You would have been a hoot to go to high school with, really.
We were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were.
Dan, I loved your story too when you and the boys were driving up and down LA trying to look for the girls.
Oh, always.
And you were just being squirrely and stuff. That was pretty funny.
Always. We were always doing that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And you
I
got a
love it.
beautiful family, both of you.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
just
you.
I love when you share that. That is
Thank
really
you.
cool. Really
Thank
cool.
you so much.
Vicky,
Thank you
we-
again, and I will be watching you
Thanks.
both.
Thanks for being on. We
Good.
really appreciate it.
Thank
And
you.
the support. Thanks. And
Love
Tom,
you too.
thank you so
Right.
much
Be
too.
safe.
Yeah,
Be safe.
Thank you
okay?
so much.
All right. Love you both.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh my God, she's
What do you
adorable.
think of that?
That was awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
She's wonderful, and it's like that has been a surprise. Like these random, I'm good with making internet friends now after
Yeah.
AMP.
Yeah.
I met such a great amount of people doing that radio show that was really fun. I'm so bummed that they couldn't get the app to actually do anything.
Yeah.
But I now love being connected to people just out in the world.
Yep.
I think there's something really special, and it does kind of, I don't know, Vicky's watching us tell stories and
Yep.
interview guests, and I feel like I know her
Sure.
as much as she feels like she
Right.
knows us in a
Yeah.
weird way because she's engaged.
She's great.
And that's really, I understand how people can take these little social media things
Yeah.
and branch out because of making those types of connections. Like
Uh-huh.
you look at influencers, you're like, how do they get to? It's because they are engaging
Yep.
with the world.
Yep.
And that's really, we try to do that. Neither one of us have enough time to like fully manage the social
No.
media campaign
No.
part of this. But I do think we do
But
a
she
good
has
job.
she has, stood out from day one.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And she has been, I mean, how
She's
awesome
lovely.
is it? How awesome is it though that before there was 90who10 or anything, there's people out there like Googling the grassroots.
That just cracks me up. It's for
How
whatever.
awesome is
It's
that?
amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And
It's
then we got
amazing
her
that
as our number one fan. And you're right, we do need some swag to send her.
we need some swag.
Yeah.
We'll get right on that.
Yeah.
We should make Todd Time t-shirts. Let's talk to him.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that.
But and we should find like a charity to donate some money to.
For sure.
And also maybe we can insist that Kylie gives him a percentage of the lipstick.
I like it.
I guess this is an interesting question because Vicky just touched on it, and I hope it doesn't sound like I've had a hard life. I mean, I do feel like I've had a semi-privileged life, but there's been a lot of dark stuff for sure.
You know, the thing about it is, I think a lot of people have had struggles in their lives, and if I really wanted to shine a light on it, I could shine a light on struggles that I've had in my life.
100%.
But you're just open. It's not. I don't think you're trying to like say poor me or anything like that.
Right.
But I think you're just open about your life and open about some of the struggles that you've gone through, you know? I mean, anybody who listens to this thing or knows you knows there's a lot of good in your life too.
Right. Of course.
But you're just very open. I'm not like that. I'm not as much like you. I mean, I've had a lot of struggles in my life.
Yeah.
You know, I lost my dad very young.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff that went along with that. You know, I've struggled with addiction in my life. There's all kinds of things that I've gotten in my past that I just don't talk about quite as openly. And you're an open book, which is awesome.
I kind of am.
Yeah.
But also because I have no fucking filter. Like
That's okay.
zero, and I don't censor myself. And sometimes I'll stick my foot in my mouth because why not?
Yeah.
It's living.
And you know, again, and Jess, I totally respect you, and I love doing this show with you. So your approach to me is important and what you want to do, you know. For me, like I said, I'm not very political on Facebook.
I know.
You know?
Well, I'm not even on Facebook anymore.
And if I went, you know, it's funny, we were talking about another friend of ours.
That's where the old people are, Dan.
I know. I'm old, okay. I am. I'm embracing that I'm old.
I love our generation. Are you kidding me?
But it's funny. So we were talking about our friend of ours who has a podcast who talks more about, you know, recovery and substance abuse. And I was going to go on that. And I was willing to talk about some of, or all of anything that I've gone through, you know. But on this show, again, I love you and I love your approach. And if you want to talk about, and especially like when we have like a Jamie or an Eden that want to talk about mental health,
for sure.
I'm totally open to that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just not my approach in here. It's my approach is more like entertainment and fun. And
I know.
light.
And it is because sometimes I'll ask those questions that you're like, ooh.
Like I said, we ham and egg it, you know, which is great.
But who's the egg?
That's a good question.
Just kidding.
But, you know, so that's totally cool though, you know?
Just because I do want to talk a little bit about it because it's coming up on my something birthday, unfortunately, which happens to be on October 7th.
Yeah.
And today, if I can say what day it is, even though is September 11th.
Yeah.
So, you know, I have feelings about these dates. Sure. And I have a friend who's born on September 11th. My boss is actually born on September 11th. It's a hard day.
Yeah.
It's a difficult day, as will my birthday be. But this birthday also happens to be a marker for me where I have had, I have now had exactly half my life without my mom.
Sure.
And
I go through those same of
it's a weird thing. I have gone through getting married and having a child and having a career and doing all of these things that she's probably didn't even foresee for me. You know? And there's a lot of the stuff that I think about when I look back going, by the grace of God, I've made something of myself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not that I couldn't have, I just took such an alternate route to get to here.
But I mean, since I've known you, going back to high school, you've had a flame inside of you. That's the only way I can put it, you know, a sparkle. And so, you know, along the way, we go through these struggles, and sometimes I heard somebody describe it as like a pilot light.
It dims your light.
It dims your light, but your light burns strong, you know?
Oh, thank you.
And you'll find a way. In the beginning, I really was kind of like trying to put you in a box a little bit and say, this is what we have to be, and this is the way we have to do it, you know?
And that makes me overwhelmed.
Hold on. And since that time, I don't feel that much. You know, I can try to like direct it in more of an entertainment route. And then you can when those things come up, you're able to dive a little deeper into some of those more serious issues that you know what I mean? And we ham and egg it. But as far as you're talking about like these certain markers in your life, you know, I mean, like I said, I don't talk about certain things. You know, I lost my dad when I was 16. My mom died on my 25th birthday. I was out partying with friends, and I got the call that my mom had passed away. You know, and I turned, I'm going to be 51 this year. So I have lived half my life without my mom, and more than half my life without my dad. You know, and my dad was a great guy, and he is somebody who I feel would have been invaluable for advice. You know, in life. My dad was not the kind of dad that would go like throw the football or baseball around, you know. But as I've known people who've known him in business or as friends, I've had more than one person people tell me that I never trusted anybody the way I trusted your father.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those kinds of things, like it's amazing. And so like when I am, you know, worried about my kids or my finances or my life or my decisions, I would have loved to have had him all this time as a guide.
Yeah.
And my mom, you know, too, you know, I think you met my mom.
Oh yeah. No, I met your mom and your brother.
But you know, the funny thing is, as what has just dawned on me now, and my parents are a little older because I'm the youngest of three.
Right.
But pretty much everybody, even though it happened a little bit younger for me and for you, pretty much everybody our age, very few of my friends have both of their parents. Most people at this time have lost at least one parent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely both their grandparents. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was 16 when my dad died. He was 57. I was 25 when my mom died. She was 58. But now that I think about my parents would be 91 and 84, there's a chance that may not be here anyway. Do you know what I'm saying?
Totally. I'm still knocking on wood. I'm pretty sure my dad is going to live forever.
Your dad is awesome.
No, I think that's a valid thing going through midlife. Like all of a sudden, there are a lot more people that understand what you and I have already know.
Sure.
I do like my mom was a different story because it was difficult.
Yeah.
She was a difficult human and was a wonderful person, but she also gave up on herself too early. Of course, when you look at the things that you've brought into your parenting, I'm sure there's a lot of your dad.
My parents were total opposites when it came to parenting. My dad was very calm, and he was the type that would say, do you know why you did this and why you shouldn't do this and why you shouldn't do it again? Why are you struggling with this? Why is this hard for you? Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And my mom was like,
get it done.
My mom was, quick with a smack.
I had that too.
It was a different generation.
Yeah, it was.
My mom was tough. My mom had a lot of love. She could be very loving, but she could, as a little kid, there was times where I was petrified of her.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Oh yeah.
And so it took me a while after she died to actually come to terms with all of that, you know?
Yeah.
And realizing that she did the best that she could, and that there's no instruction manual.
Do you guys have any genie people that you would wish?
I do have a genie person. I really would like Pauly Shore to come on.
So there's a lot of big Beverly names. Like,
I mean, fuck, if Betty White was still here, I'd be like trying to get Betty White on.
There's a lot of big Beverly names.
Yeah.
Like Richard Dreyfuss,
Albert Brooks, David Schwimmer,
David Schwimmer, Jonathan Silverman, Lenny Kravitz,
Pauly Shore.
And some of them, like a Pauly Shore, there may even be a chance that we can make that happen.
I think he probably had one of the most interesting childhoods, given the fact that his mother owned the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
I think there's been this great clip going around on Instagram of like, if you think your Gen Alpha kid sounds weird with the Skibbity Ohio Riz, here's Pauly from Gen X, and it's like a thing out of Encino Man.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm gonna grind and the weasel thing. He was the original Gen Alpha.
He was. So I'd love to get Pauly on.
And I want to know about the Richard Simmons biopic, biopic. I never say that right.
And there's a couple great people we already have lined up coming up in the next month or two.
Mm-hmm.
But there's somebody big that I'm working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to surprise me like you did for Kate Bushman?
Well, I think you know already.
Okay.
But hopefully we'll make it happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't, but you'll tell me later. But I'm really excited for whoever it is. I guess the one last question we can kind of figure out on the way out, is there anything surprising that you didn't know about me that you found out? It's okay if you say no.
No, the thing about it is, I always knew that you were this like awesome, amazing person. I've always thought of you that way.
I always thought of you that way.
But to get to know more about like I don't even want to say challenges with mental health because it's not that, but you're like for lack of a better word, like champion of the cause. You know, you seriously, it matters to you. You know,
It does.
mental health matters to you,
It
and you
does.
want to shine a light on it. And I respect that. You know, it's nice to care about something.
I
you know?
think when you have mental health issues or you've grown up
Which
around them,
most people do.
Most people do. It's very true. And it's giving people the space to actually be okay talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, like we've talked about, you know, the discovery, we've talked a little bit about it, but like my discovery of having ADHD after my son got diagnosed was a big fucking deal for me. And like, I get it. Some people are like, oh, we all have a little ADHD. No, not like this. Not when you are having like rejection sensitive dysphoria because, you know, somebody looked at you funny and now you think everyone hates you.
Yeah.
And it's a real fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's tangible. So I do like talking about that. I will say what I think was the most surprising thing that I found out about you was, one, I never knew that you went to NYU and did film school and that you were
to New York
wanting
Film
to do
Academy,
that. Right. Or New York Film Account. But I didn't know that you were going down that path. But the amount of people that you have stayed in contact with is so surprising, mostly because I just am, well, you know, you've texted with me. I'm fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like I'll text you back a week later.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not a great, I'm in the present.
I've said it before, and I want to say it again. I appreciate you doing this so much.
Oh, I appreciate
and
you
I
having
love
me
doing
do
it
this
with you. And I love you.
I love you too.
But the one thing I've told you off the air, and I want to say again on the air, you know, is I know that you're juggling so much with work and with your kid, and I just like appreciate that I can nail you down and be like, look, just give me one day and I'll fill it. Just give me just give me this day and we'll fill it. And I really feel that year 2 is going to get even better than year 1 was.
I feel like we're our mojo's good. Like we're hitting our stride.
Yeah.
We're late bloomers. I
We have
like
a really
it.
good guest coming up for people now.
We do. I'm very excited. All right. Well, now you've heard us babble at each other and have a love fest. Thank you guys so much for watching, for being a part of our story. Vicky Bushman, we love you.
Yeah.
Forever and ever. We're going to work on getting you some swag. And don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends. We're having a blast doing this. If there are any guests that you're curious about or think we might be able to get, please send us an email. It's 90who10 @gmail.com. And until next time, may the force be with you.
I like it. Awesome.